Hello and welcome to Someboy Online. Now today's video is a bit more of a news video which I haven't done in a while, and that is that Wallace and Gromit creators Aardman are going to be working on a new Star Wars short. Now the articles that I'm seeing initially on this kind of frame it almost as if Wallace and Gromit themselves are going to be appearing, which is just not the case, and when you read into them you can see that it's just Aardman they're referring to, but Wallace and Gromit is almost representing Aardman in the same way that Mickey Mouse would represent Disney. So Star Wars Visions Volume 2 starts streaming appropriately on May the 4th, I assume that's a weekly kind of thing, and one of the 9 episodes is going to be by Aardman Animations. The Aardman episode specifically is titled I Am Your Mother. I can only assume in reference to the I Am Your Father Darth Vader type thing. So if you go into the news or Twitter or whatever about this, you'll see plenty of pictures of Wallace and Gromit. The first thing I thought of was the Wallace and Gromit memes.
No use prevaricating about the bush.
You know, with Wallace as the Senate and all that stuff. It's obviously not going to be that, but it does beg the question of whether the Aardman art style will be utilised in this, because on the one hand it seems about as opposite from Star Wars as you could get, but on the other hand that is kind of the point of this series, as Star Wars Visions exists to give people an idea of what that universe could look like, almost in an alternate reality where it was made in that art style. A lot of these were from Japan, and in the latest series the different episodes are made by different animation studios across the world, with Aardman representing Britain. It's worth pointing out as well that this isn't necessarily stop motion. The way I see it is Aardman are obviously known for stop motion, so at face value you'd think they would pick them to make a stop motion version of Star Wars. But they have been known to use CG and stuff like that, and it's not confirmed that that's, the style they're using. However, I think it would be quite weird to go to the trouble of hiring Aardman and then having them not do the signature stop motion thing. So what I'm imagining is they do stop motion, but it's not quintessentially like Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep, Chicken Run with the big teeth and eyes sort of thing. I really can't picture that, though it's entirely possible at the same time. I've really got no idea because of how abstract this series is supposed to be. Apparently it's not even necessarily canon to the Star Wars franchise, so it's really quite experimental. But it's interesting because to me it's polar opposites. You've got this big American company being Disney collaborating with this smaller British company, and I think the values of two companies like that are always going to differ. It happened previously with Aardman and DreamWorks where they partnered up and of course made The Curse of the Were-Rabbit before things kind of fell apart because they had different opinions of how things should be, and this is the first time since then I believe that that's happened. But once again, it's from the perspective of the idea of the series is to be different, so I hardly think there's going to be any creative fallouts and the like. But yeah, if you go to Twitter, it's full of people posting pictures of Wallace and Gromit photoshopped into Star Wars and stuff like that. It's funny on the one hand, and most people are joking, but I think inevitably with stuff like this, you're going to get people who go in genuinely expecting to see Wallace and Gromit. I mean, it's basically just for the clicks, isn't it? But speaking of that, I've seen so many articles that have been posted like today announcing, quote unquote, that there's going to be a new Wallace and Gromit film. And this announcement, I didn't believe this, but it was literally over a year ago that happened, and I reported on it at the time. But yet, articles every so often keep on going, oh, it's the 30th anniversary of The Wrong Trousers, and Aardman's announced a new movie and it'll have thousands of likes. And they seem to have flared up with this Star Wars news as well. And I don't know, it just sort of doesn't sit very well with me because you've got this news flaring up of the Aardman Star Wars stuff, but what is trending is Wallace and Gromit because they're associated with it, which is fine. And then off the back of that, you're getting people taking it upon themselves to announce there's a new movie, and I don't know whether they genuinely just found this out and feel the need to share it, but it's just bizarre that it's picking up so much traction. But yeah, overall, it's quite interesting to see something like this. To be honest, aside from The Mandalorian, I'm not too deep into the Star Wars franchise, especially lately I feel like there's been a lot of stuff surrounding it that it's almost hard to keep up with. and with this series being so abstract, I've just never seen it. But I'll probably watch the episode just out of curiosity. But the way I feel about it is, it would be really cool and quite hilarious if they did look like Wallace and Gromit characters. The way I see it going is more realistic, sort of stop motion. A few people have brought this to my attention today, so thanks for that. But what do you think of the news? Is Star Wars something that you're into? Have you seen the series before? And how much of Aardman will be in the short, do you think, by the end? It's funny, lately we've got these smaller brands like Doctor Who at the BBC and Wallace and Gromit from Aardman, and they are both collaborating with Disney. Personally, I think it's quite interesting. You of course then get the argument that Disney is taking over everything, which may or may not be true. So yeah, I wasn't sure on what the reception would be for this, but it's kind of exploded on Twitter, so here is the coverage, and I hope you enjoyed. So please leave your thoughts down below on what you think could come out of this collaboration. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.